guys, welcome to this episode of Shift. I'm your host, Palmonia Gordon, and as I told you, we're traveling. Now, for those of you who've been having some crazy weather, my daughter looked outside this morning and she said, I thought it was going to be early spring. I said, You got it for one day. So you're going to be excited to where we're traveling today. We're going all the way to Bermuda. Now, I have with us today a special guest. I keep referring to her as Dr. Nesbitt. She is in the process or will be pursuing her doctorate, so I'm not going to apologize if I say Dr. Nesbitt. I believe that when we get into the presence of women with this caliber, that a doctorate is just a label, if you will, but what they do and who they are is in essence. They're being doctors who are ministering. So, Patricia Nesbitt was born in Bermuda. She has ties, family ties in St. Kitts, and of course, she's connected to Ethiopia. And we're going to talk about that as we get in her company. Patricia Nesbitt Network synthesizes with those who dare to master their penance for creating theatrical products. See, doctor, that's a doctor to me because her language, basically, she said, listen, if you have the gift of arts, of performing, she has something for you. She's an internationally known theater producer, director, playwright, and master teacher of what's that,
Meisner. Meisner.
Meisner technique of
Mhm.
acting. So I'm going to get lesson today. I'm on campus, y'all. Her most recent artistic endeavor is the development of the Noor Youth Theatre Company. It's a charitable trust which provides the opportunity for high school students to become published author through playwright and performing their original works before leaving high school in a platform called Loud Souls. Can you imagine that? Ha! Dr. Nesbitt, I'm not even going to go through any more formalities. I want you to spell it out for us because I am just already blown away by what you're doing. Can you imagine if I had learned to document my story from I was in high school? Oh, my path I know would have been totally different. But again, I also recognize that we're in a season of change and growth and timing, which you're right on point. So, welcome to Shift. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I didn't think things could pop off so quickly in the world like this, but I seemed like I met you last week, and here we are. Got to do
Absolutely.
it.
Yes. So, I mean, I just gave them a snippet, the formalities as to who you are. Maybe share some insight as how you even got into theater as opposed to, I'm sure I get the sense that you had the world to choose from, but you chose theater because of where you were in life at that time.
Well, how I got involved in theater is a quite interesting story because I thought I was a very shy person. And
Mm.
at 13 years old, I have a friend. Her name is Dr. Terry Lynn Emery. She's Bermuda's first female obstetrician gynecologist today.
Okay.
And when we were 13, we were really good friends. And she says, Patricia, I think you should go and audition for the Bermuda National Youth Theater Company.
Mm.
And I was like, me? No way. I'm shy. No way. She said, no, but you could do it. You're very good. You're always doing plays in church or, in the school play. I think you should go for it. And she
Mm.
held my hand and we went to this audition. And the director says, okay, anyone else? This is the final call. Anybody else wants to try out for the lead? And I
Mm.
gingerly raised my hand like this. And he says, oh, yes, come. I see you. I see you. And the rest is history. I got the lead role. And
Mm.
I tell her, in fact, I talked to her last evening. I said, I want you to know that everything that I do is because of you. And I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful. From there, this director, when he saw my potential, he said, listen, you are going to go and study theater at Howard University. That is my alma mater, and you have it. You have that it factor. And I'm saying, okay, so I did a lot of work with him preparing me to go to Howard. One of the pieces that we actually did was written by Dr. Joseph Walker, and Dr. Joseph Walker was the first Black Tony Award winning playwright. And his piece was called River Niger, and I played this character called Gail. Well,
Mhm.
what do you know? I get to Howard, and Dr. Walker is my professor.
Oh
I
wow, no
remember I
way.
held my chest. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm meeting this man in the flesh. I'm meeting this man in the flesh. It's like, thank you, thank you. Anyway, so I got the opportunity to work with him, which was beautiful. But here's my journey. I was weighing 270 pounds when I left Bermuda as a teenager. And
Wow.
the week before I was supposed to be there, I had a very bad road accident. I messed up my face, my glasses cut up my eyes, I lost my front teeth.
Ooh, wow.
And here I was getting on the plane. So I was physically, I did not look as beautiful as I knew I was, but I had the heart inside. I was beautiful on the inside.
Yes.
Can you imagine a foreigner, I would say, going into an American environment where when you get into this business, everything is about the beauty. It's about the look first. Your image carries you, right? And here I
Mhm.
was having to go to dance class and put on uh, pink tights and a black leotard. And I was fat. I was the fat kid. But I was so determined. I wanted to be in Howard University's touring company and
Mhm.
be a part of the Howard Players. And I worked, and I went down to 125 pounds.
Wow. Oh wow. Oh, you
So
like
yeah,
that's
I
more than
I wanted
half.
it. I wanted it, and what I want everybody to know is if you want something bad enough, you are going to do it. It's the amount
Yes.
of energy you put into it, right? The other
Yes.
thing was there is no one in Bermuda makes a living as an actress.
Yes.
And in the 70s, a woman could be a waitress, a secretary, maybe a librarian. If your parents had money, you could be a lawyer, a doctor, or something like that.
Yes.
But for me, when I'm telling my mother I'm going to be an actress, no, 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 no. You have to have an employable skill, miss. And I said, but mama, that's what I want to be. I can do it. I can do it. And she says, you're not going to college. You're going to go to secretarial school for a year and you're going to have this employable skill. Well, I cried. We argued and I cried. But you know what? She's so wise because I was able to type papers for people while I was in college.
Mm.
And then I came home. I couldn't get into my field as an educator right away. And so I worked for like reinsurance companies. I worked for law firms. People were moving into digital, so doing data transference. I was doing all of those sorts of things, working for myself. Like I was like just a pioneer at this stuff, right?
Okay.
And then one day I got a call. This gentleman named Eugene Harvey. He says,
Mm.
listen, there's a program that we want to do. It's called the Bermuda Youth Theatrical Traveling Roadshow, and we'd like you to be the director. And I said, well, of course. I didn't know what that was going to mean. And what they said was, you have to be able to create a theater production for young people that are in high school who will just come and do the production. They'll do whatever you need them to do, whether it's backstage and tech work, performance, but most people came to be performers, right? So this was the grounding for where I am with Loud Souls and this piece that I do now. I
Yes.
did that from 1983 to 1998, 17-year span.
Yes.
And the trick to this was I was not allowed to turn any child away, whether they could read, whether they could write, whether they could sing, that didn't matter. I could not turn anybody away.
The power of inclusion, right? And I believe that is so
It's important
impactful
today.
because even for yourself, if you had, I don't believe if you had experienced exclusion at Howard, that determination would have won. But because you felt included and you were given the opportunity to transform, you achieve success. So, apologies, I'm butting in there, but that is such a key component to
Yes.
success, and especially with our youth. So go
Yes.
ahead.
So that word you just said, transforming,
Hmm.
that's what the Loud Souls program was about. So let's just fast forward a little bit. So I I left Bermuda. No, let me just go back a little bit. So in 1994 or something like that, I was having a hard time in the education system because my thinking was so different from
Mm,
the colony that I lived in. Like I was so way out there. You know, I went to a Black college. I was empowered. I just knew who I was.
yeah.
And so I left there. I got an opportunity to work at a hotel. I was asked to direct 4 shows. That's a repertory company. It was a different show every weekend, and I did
Hmm.
it for the off-season period from November to March.
Yes.
Let me tell you, who'd have thought that I was going to be in this position? I never saw it coming, you know, but I was diligent. And what happened was the first year it was so powerful and the people kept coming, kept coming, kept coming. The second year the hotel was like, well, Miss Pugson, do you want to have dinner? We want to make it a dinner theater. I was doing cocktail theater. So the
Mm,
hotel took the cocktails, I took the door, and whatever fee we had to pay to have the space, that was it. I said, no,
yes.
no, 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 no. I don't want to do dinner theater. I just want the tickets off the door. I don't want to do anything else. But if you desire to do that, go ahead. I was treated like I was a professional. I was the professional director, right? But what happened there was that, you know, sometimes when people see a person that has these gifts, they want it. And so I started to feel like people were trying to remove me out of this picture. And I'm
Mm,
the type of person that goes, okay, I don't like how this feels. I got to go.
yeah.
And I gave it up.
Yeah.
From there, I went to run a program called Parents Resource Institute for Drug Education. I went to Rutgers University. I learned about, you know, what drugs did to young minds. And
Yes.
we created a drug performance team. And I was determined. I said, I want to have this program in every school, which I did, whether it was primary school, middle school, high school. Every school on
Wonderful.
the island had this drug prevention program. And the children told these stories or taught through leadership
Hmm.
and knowledge. And they were able to go off to different places and teach using this method. So from there, I got a call from the Department of Education. They're like, Ms. Nesbitt, we need you to come back and teach English. I said, okay, fine, I could do that. So I ran an English department at a middle school. And while I was there, I learned something about children when they can write for themselves. They're going
Hmm.
to remember it. And I said, okay, we're going to do something. It was called Fudge Factory. I got
Yes.
every hotel and bakery to send me all of these chocolate goods on a Valentine's Day.
Hmm.
And the children performed their own poetry. And what was amazing about that was that the night was so electric that the parents that came, they were like, so Ms. Pogson, you think can we do it now that the children are finished? Can I put some of my poetry out there? When you get parent buy-in,
Yes.
you're a winner, right? And then I wanted to go and do something else. I needed to go get my master's. I left Bermuda. I went to Atlanta. I studied at the Arts Institute. I wanted to do movies. So I did digital media while
Hmm.
studying screenwriting through National University in California. And so I was able to get a sabbatical, had my salary. It was a beautiful thing. I was able to live in a house I had purchased in Atlanta,
Yes.
and I got my master's. And then I was coming back to Bermuda. I got a phone call to say, could you come and run the arts department at Bermuda's totally public high school? Like,
Okay.
I don't know. I want to make movies. I want to make movies. But I always say, be careful what you ask for, because I asked for that. And as
That's
late as it was coming, I got it. So I
yeah.
came home. I told my principal, I'm going to be here for 3 years. That's it. Well, I've been there since 2007, and I'm getting ready to retire this year. I know
Wow.
I'm not 65, I'm not retirement age, but I wanted to do something different. And when I met my beautiful husband, Mr. Graham Nesbitt, before we got married, he was saying, I really want to go and live in Africa. I said, oh my gosh, me too, me too. I want to live in Africa. And he had been to Ghana, he loved it. The whole 20 years we were married, we never went together for a visit. And he
Mm.
retired 2 years ago, and he says, are you ready for plan B? And I'm going, plan B? What's plan B? Yeah, I'm ready. What's plan B? He says, we're going to go and live in Africa. He was like, we're going to go live in Africa. Did you forget? I was like, oh my gosh, we are. And here we are. My husband left here in November. He's in Africa building our house so that we can actually have a space there. Now, in between all of that, while I was teaching at Cedar Bridge Academy, the public high school,
Hmm.
I had some talented children. This one year, 2017 was an epic year for that school because I had a group of children that were so hungry for theater, and I made them write some poetry. I don't know if you've ever heard of the author Rupi Kaur. She wrote a book called Milk and Honey. And Rupi
No.
has these poems in there that make you think, oh my gosh, she totally understands what it means to live and simple stuff. And the first poem they read was how is it so hard to be kind to people? And I got them to use that as a stimulus, and they
Mm,
began writing. And then she had other things like her images were doodles. You know how people will doodle on a page? This
yes,
one
yes.
doodle she had was of a pregnant woman. She's a wife. Her husband was kneeling at her feet and holding her baby, like holding her belly like this. And it's a pencil drawing. He says, "This is the closest that you come to God." So the children were just writing and writing, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, Miss Nesbitt, my mama went and bought me the book." And then people started getting the book. And then Loud Souls was created. They wrote their own monologues about what they were experiencing in life. And we molded them together using children's games and stories. Things like Little Sally Walker sitting in her sauce. I don't know if they had that in Canada.
Yes, yes, yes.
Miss Mary Mac. They would do all of these children's games and they'd weave these stories together. So you had stories about one girl, she was ready to commit suicide. You
Mm,
had another girl who had two children that had already were already mothers who had come back to high school to finish. You had
mm,
young men that were experiencing what it meant to live in the shoes of Dr. Martin Luther King. So you had some pieces that were, a little bit more historic and resonated with the guys that were in the group. And these are the children that came up with the name Loud Souls. You're talking about 15,
mm.
16, 17-year-olds that saw this product. They created the book cover. I challenged them. I said, okay, so now we're going to become published authors. They're like, what, Miss Nesbitt? What? I said, yes, it's going to look really good on your resume when you graduate from high school because you're going to do that before we graduated. And so these girls, three of them had actually gone off to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. They
Oh,
came back
nice.
home, they study. And last year, when we did under COVID, when we did Loud Sales 2, they were the directors. You
Mm,
know how
wow.
empowering that is? And then
Wow.
because of COVID, we couldn't continue to meet face to face. And so they had to figure out, how do I teach this online? So I guided them. I just believe in leadership by the young. They can teach each other. And
Yes.
out of that came a television show.
Look at that.
So, because we couldn't perform live, you know.
Yes.
So Channel 82, which is run by a gentleman here called, his name is Lamerne Woods. He has this company called Crimson Media. He came in, we videotaped it. Another friend of mine, Amir X. Amir is actually only print model that exists in Bermuda that's a male. Like, he's really made it big. He's living in South Africa now. We're hoping to be able to do some things together. He provided the sets and the lighting for us. And it was just a beautiful evening where parents came at the end of it and they watched it and they were just floored at their children. So there was music, there was poetry, there were monologues, and again, all woven together with just this time they just used some music, you know. So
I
Loud Souls International,
mhm.
now the young girls that were at the American Academy, they were hoping to have some of their peers present some pieces. However, it was late, and so we had a deadline. I just said, well, you know what? It'll happen. It's going to happen whenever it's supposed to
When it's
happen.
supposed to happen.
Right.
But that what you have created is so powerful, so life transforming, and even the message I did this morning that I sent out was, when God has called you or commissioned you to do something, no matter how insignificant it might be, it's important just to keep showing up and keep doing it, because the impact, you can see this right now,
Right.
right? But you have, I mean, transform is not even the word. It's just something, you have transcend time, for quote unquote, for want of a in my mind, I'm just seeing where you have shoot past, where they were to, because once they get that glimpse of, okay, this is where I'm going, because that's where we get lost. When we lose vision of where we're going, the now and the right here bogs us down because we see the stuff. But like your determination, that pulls you through. So what does it feel like? And I am asking because I know I'm guilty, and many of us are guilty. We do these huge, we experience this huge accomplishment, and for especially Black women, I'm
Mm.
gonna keep it real, and we just keep moving. We have a baby, or pick up the baby in the basket. Oh, you had a baby? Oh yeah. It's like,
Yeah, I did that. I had my son at 27. I was 27 years old and in the theater directing, but everybody just became his uncle and aunt. You pick up the bassinet, somebody takes him out, and I just had help.
yeah,
I always had help.
yeah,
But it,
we do that. We
yeah,
stop and say, "Oh my gosh, this is such a huge moment. Let me celebrate." And we're not saying get your head swollen that you lose sight, but truly enjoy it.
yeah. And that's the key. You have to really love what you do because it's not like somebody is going to give me a job and what it is, what I want to do. I have to create the work myself. Here, I just have to create it myself. And I know this is worldwide phenomenon for anybody that wants to be an artist. But I keep going because I think for me, the realization that I can recognize that a person has a potential to be a Broadway artist or working in Canada. In fact, one of my proteges, his name is Darren Herbert.
Hmm.
He lives in Toronto and he was in Music Man over there. He's done quite a few television shows. He was in Dream Girls with Eddie Murphy. And this
Hmm.
is a young man that was out of Bermuda and he got his start with me. It was just really
Awesome.
great to watch him go. There's another young man, I think he's in Canada too. He has the Koresh Dance Company. His name is Eric Bean. I remember Eric came to me and I was doing my first original piece. It was called She's Got Issues. And he was saying that he wanted to choreograph. I said, no, 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 no. No children in this production. Oh, please, he begged me. And I said, okay, fine. And when I watched this boy, I said, oh my gosh, you fly. You could
Mm.
do these leaps and no formal dance training. I said, you must go to dance class. So
Mm.
there's a company here called United Dance Productions run by a wonderful choreographer, Miss Suzette Harvey, and she trained him. He went to Philadelphia School of the Arts, and the rest is history. There's
Yes.
another young girl, Lana Young. She's getting ready to do her first piece with Tyler Perry, the
Mm.
Jazzman Blues. It's a different genre for him. And I'm pretty excited about it. But I just did a documentary with her because when I was doing the shows at Princess at the hotel, I saw her, and I would go on the street and say, "You look like a person that should be this character I'm doing for this play. Want to come and audition for me?" I did that to her, and she was very hesitant. And I didn't know that she had this in her blood, but she was working in finance or something like that. Anyway, she came and auditioned for me. She had such a great time, and she said, I'm leaving, I'm going to Boston, and I'm going to pursue this career." And here she is. She's
Nice.
a working artist, getting ready to do something major. So that makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing. I can't take all the credit. God is my creator. He's my vibe. He's my muse. He's my everything. And I just have to be thankful that I'm so strong in my commitment to honoring this gift that I have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And speaking of honoring, when we had spoken, because we met through Women of Culture and the Legends. We had a show where we were showcasing some of the legends in different countries around the world, and what they're doing and the impact. And you were there. And I remember when we spoke, I said I wanted to. I feel like Cleopatra is in my lineage. There's just, I mean, somebody even said to me, "You have certain necklace when you put them on, it's almost like you just take on that look." And you said you had done your research, and you found out that. Tell us a little bit about
Sure.
that, and what excites you when you know, because I believe knowing who we are changes so much how we behave and how we show up.
Yeah. In 2005, I did a DNA test through National Geographic. And how that happened was that I'm in school, uh, teaching at this middle school, Delwood Middle School, and we're getting an introduction to having computers, and every class was going to have a computer. And this first day, one of the ads that came up was that National Geographic was doing this DNA test, and I was like, okay, so that means I could find out, where am I from? I did it, Ethiopia, no ifs, ands, or buts. And so I began this journey about, okay, now I got to find out about Ethiopia. God is my witness. My husband he is a Rasta man, and he understands Emperor Haile Selassie, the king of Ethiopia in 1940s or something like that. Anyway, so I learned about what was happening in Ethiopia through him, and how he and his guys, how they embrace Ethiopia. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm from Ethiopia. So the plan right now is to go and visit. They've just found some hieroglyphic sort of writing on a wall in this area, and they're saying that these are images of Jesus. And so I want to actually go and see that, because I'm still on this journey. I'm trying to discover about religion. There's an area there called Lalibela. I dream of going there. My sister says, Pat, they go to a church like we go to bars in Bermuda. Bermuda is a
Oh,
party people. And so I'm saying, I need to understand. I want to understand everything, how people operating. But this was the philosophy of my life. Being a Christian was the philosophy of my life that I, embraced, because that's what my parents made me do. You went to Sunday school, you went to church, you went to Sunday school in the afternoon. And so I've been brought up like that. So I have this thirst for understanding religion, and for me, really, really being able to define God. But one thing I can tell you is that I know that my job is also to let people know that there is this spirit that is so much bigger than us, that is
yes,
making this world operate.
yes.
So Ethiopia is my home. Ethiopia is my home. And I keep telling myself, Ethiopia is my home. And I dream of going back there. So going to Ghana, living in Ghana, experiencing the people in Ghana. I had the opportunity, I'm going to be working at a school. I'm going to be running this NGO for a brother friend of mine, Mr. Quentin Sherlock. I'm going to be bringing Loud Souls into that space. And for anybody else that wants to have this opportunity with their high school students, to make them create their own legacy before they even graduate, it gives them an opportunity to look at where they are and what success looks like very early, and the success they can actually carry it in a book. I did this, is what they'll be able to say. And it is a very proud moment when you watch these young people and they have this thing in their hand to say it's quite an accomplishment. I'm glad that I could do that sort of thing for them, and hopefully it'll be something that'll be picked up worldwide.
Absolutely. That sounds like your legacy that has uh, gone out to pave the way. And I'm totally excited about that thought, because even as a child growing up, writing is something that I did. I mean, we did drama in school. You'd walk in and the teacher would give you one line and give you 10, 20, 50 minutes. Okay, make the skit and perform. We had to do that. And I believe it's so impacting. So I truly thank you, Patricia, for being obedient, for recognizing that there is absolutely a greater force that is guiding us and showing us where to go, what to do, and not just that, but meeting the needs of those who have been placed on our path.
Yes.
Because can you imagine if, these young people, if you hadn't been able to intersect with them at that point that you did? Everybody comes to a place in life where they have that crossroad, and it's who they interact with at that crossroad that determines whether they're going to go up or they're going to go down.
Yeah.
Right. So I thank you. I truly thank you for that. Now, what would you say to shift community, to parents who have children who because I mean, I have an 18-year-old that they, I find their expression, because now they're so social media, maybe a bit different in Bermuda. I'm not sure how technology factors in.
Oh, it's
Uh,
huge. It's huge. I listen, I say things like, okay, babies are coming out knowing how to operate in the social media platforms. I see babies have the phone, and I'm going, I would never do that to my, if I had a child. No, you can't have a phone yet. Some other things you got to learn first. You know what I mean? But it
yes,
amuses me because, and when it comes to that, my young people there are years, light years ahead of me when it comes to that. So I require them to help me to set up whatever I need to set up for social media until I learn it. And in fact, my new company, the Patricia Nesbitt Network, I'm actually going to have young people do that social media piece for me so that they can have buy-in to the company, because I don't know it. I will learn it, I will learn it and I will understand how it all works. But I want them to have a piece of this, because that's even part of their legacy. They can do something technologically that I can't do. So welcome to the company, Yeah.
yes,
So anybody
yes.
that's out there that would be interested in the Loud Souls program, I am easily accessible. It's just my name, patricia.nesbitt@gmail.com. You shoot me an email and let's start to talk. I mean, maybe I can come into your community and actually, show you the program and we can make it happen. We can make it happen. But it's important that our children look at who they are as early as they can so that they can see where is it that they want to go and how you're going to get there and have this concrete thing that the world can tap into and say, yes, it's a published author. I know this person, I don't know. Maybe we have writers that are out there and, this might be a stepping stone for them. But that's not necessarily what Loud Souls is about. It is really to empower young people to look at themselves and have this badge of honor that says, I am worthy and this is me. It's my life right here. Yeah.
Keyword, I am worthy, because that is such a challenge, and not just for young people. I mean, for women as they go through life and they strive and they are recovering or hanging on for dear life. I believe that that's one of the key component, that until we cross that border and recognize I am worthy of this, it it's a challenge. So I truly thank you. As I said, Dr. Nesbitt, I believe, and when you said your friend, who got you started is a doctor, I'm like, there it is. She even keep the company of doctors. So
Yeah,
by
for real.
default. So I truly thank you for joining us as a guest and sharing your ministry with us, sharing your journey, taking us to Ethiopia and to Ghana, and of course to the warm waters of Bermuda.
It's truly heaven. I mean, this environment is truly heaven, and anybody that wants a great uh, respite, a great vacation, a great relaxing vacation with the most beautiful people on earth, come to Bermuda.
I think they get that in Jamaica too, a star, no disrespect intended.
I
Now we
love Jamaica.
just Irie, right?
Yeah, Irie, everything Irie, everything Irie. Yes, one love. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. So, Shift Nation, please connect with Dr. Nesbitt. If you are a parent, and I just want to be clear on that, Dr. Nesbitt, are parents allowed to, connect with you? Say, listen, me, I have
Yes.
a child that I would love to be able to direct and channel him, or her. Can we reach out to you? Because I know it's way better in an organization to have everybody together, but sometimes also right now, everybody's so sprayed out, and with COVID and the spin and turns that many youth took, it's nice to say, reach out. Is that okay for them to reach out to you
Of
individually?
course, of course. Patricia.Nesbitt gmail.com. And I
Oh,
would be willing to, well, and to tell you the truth, with Noir Youth Theater Company, when young people come in, they have to have a parent attached. So, or an adult attached, somebody that can actually walk that journey with you, because you just might need someone. And if we can, if you don't have a person, of course, if a young person comes and you don't have a person, we have to find you one. You know,
okay.
you just have to find you an adult that you can attach yourself to, that can just support you as a young person.
Awesome. That's amazing. I appreciate that, Dr. Nesbitt. So, Shift, thank you for joining us on this episode. Thank you for Dr. Nesbitt coming in to share with us. And I hope that you will take the message and, listen to the youth that are around you. See who may have a need to live, to paint the vision of their life a little differently. We've been traditionally taught to, go to school and, get the good grades, but maybe their journey is being able to self express in words or in music or in poetry. And here's an opportunity for them to be able to show you, show themselves, as well as to guide us on that path that can truly transform. So we look forward to connecting with you. Thank you for stopping by. God bless you.
Ah,
We love
thank
you.
you.
Have a
Pleasant good afternoon to you.
thank you.
All right.